Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 11th episode of the Fans of the DC Universe podcast, the only DCU podcast for the fans, by the fans, and the best source for all DC Universe news and discussion on everything DC Universe. Today, we have a very special episode with the wonderful leaders of the DCU Book Club. Joining us today are MattMcDonald.
Hi, hello.
JLWWSM.
Hello.
Me, Nathan.Payson, and the wonderful Donnell.
My goodness. Well, hello.
So today we're going to do an interview with MattMcDonald and JL and talk about the book club a lot. But before we do, I want to talk about Titans S2E2. Now, normally we talk about the comics coming out this week, but because we want to get as much time as possible to talk about Titans and an interview, we're going to cut that today. However, of course, we'll still talk about some comic stuff in the DC Universe Book Club stuff. So let's talk about Titans Episode 2. So what'd you think about the episode?
I'll start. I loved it. I thought it's a really good change. I like the new tone. I definitely can rewatch that episode over and over. It's just fun. I liked Raven, and the fact that she's changing and Beast Boy is changing. It's just a fun transitional episode to me.
I found it was such a stark contrast from episode 1 of the season, which was very much trying to introduce the new tone and also like come to a conclusion with the old tone. And it was kind of a mess. But in this episode, like it with the new tone, I loved it so much. And it definitely it was like a really strong opening. Like I would really consider this the opening of season 2. And it was like, and I've really appreciated all the major storylines. For example, and I also really appreciate that there were multiple storylines. I think Titans, the last episode, felt this need to try to create like one giant continuous storyline. And by separating it out, if it felt like the world felt more full. And I think it's something Titans always been really good at is its world. What did you guys think of Rose?
I liked her. I hope she in time becomes more one with the group. But I mean, I like her. She's still early. She's still kind of being rebellious and all that. But I mean, overall, I liked her. But I just kind of wanted to jump in with the last topic. I think I watched the last episode earlier today, and I was actually really worried because I didn't like it. I actually thought it was kind of bad. And I liked the first season of Titans, so I was confused as to whether or not the first season wasn't very good or what. But after the second episode, I feel much better about the season because it was good, and the first episode of this season wasn't, I think. So I'm excited, and I like Rose, and I'm excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, I think what you said was great. I'm actually a little disappointed that Titans went that way, merely because like the press is so focused on the first episode of the season when the second episode is such like a clear like sort of thesis statement on what the season's going to be, whereas like the first episode isn't really, because it's really focused on a lot of different aspects and elements of trying to create some sort of cohesive story. Whereas this episode was really about like, let's create new status quo. And it was so striking seeing the 3 months jump where it says 3 months later, because like normally if you're going to do a 3 months later, it's at the first episode, but like doing it in like the second, like if you think about it in terms of first episode, second episode was like really weird, but I really liked it because the tone shifted so much. Like it was a much nicer tone. You know, characters like Hawk and Dove, which had a very dark story, had a much brighter tone with some elements of darkness, don't get me wrong. But I thought it was much more nuanced darkness. Like, and it was sort of about overcoming the dark. And I think would be a really cool thing to look at over the course of the season is how do the Titans, how does Dick, Raven, Beast Boy, how do all of them overcome the darkness inside of them and really try to become better, brighter people?
Well, I certainly liked having the multiple storylines, and I'm hoping they continue that. I think that's part of what's the fun of when you read the comic series, where there's several storylines in one issue. It can work really well sometimes. I'm certainly concerned at this point that some of these villains seem way over their heads. I mean, as I mentioned on the last podcast, seeing Slade with all these, AK-15s or whatever. Number one, I thought, man, if they'd only known what was going to happen socially and in the culture when this came out, they might have refrained on showing quite so many guns. But think about it. What good is it if you've got the power to turn into a snake against somebody with an automatic weapon? That's pretty awful. And then this guy Light's blowing people up by remote control. How on earth are they going to fight these guys? And all I can say is, at least they're going to have all these other characters like Aqualad, etc., showing up. Maybe that'll even things up.
Yeah, I think so. Right, and I think there's more characters to get introduced. I thought, and we talked about this a little bit earlier this year when we were looking at the first trailer, I was pretty certain that the episode would be more focused on the past and the present and like flashbacks, but instead they haven't done any flashbacks, and it looks like all the scenes that we thought were flashbacks are actually going to be in the present, which is really exciting. Any other thoughts? What do you guys think of Dr. Light?
I haven't really formed an opinion on him yet. We didn't see much. I did kind of say to myself when we first saw him breaking out of, I guess that was prison, that it didn't look like a very effective way that he killed that guy. It took like 10 seconds. It was very slow. There's way more effective ways that he could have done that, but it was entertaining. We'll see. I don't know. I don't want them to introduce too many villains, but I mean, he seems okay so far.
That's fair. Any other thoughts on Dr. Light? He seems like an intimidating villain. I mean, you know what I'm saying, right? Like the scenes he's in are very like overwhelming.
I feel like, for instance, Slade, I actually, for some reason, feel a little empathy for him. There was something about the fact he had decided to live on his own. That appeals to me. This guy, Dr. Light, there's just nothing to like about the guy. There's no way to relate to this villain. He's just utter evil.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So the other thing, since we're talking about Slade, I thought Rose was very compelling. But do you think Rose is working with Deathstroke? Or against? Or against?
Remember how he got all upset 3 months ago when he saw the Titans were forming? There's no question in my mind he sent her as a plan.
Oh, yeah. It was 3 months ago. See, that's
I'm still trying to remember that.
I forgot that Deathstroke came into the picture 3 months ago. I thought we were still in like the early stages. But you see, that's why time jumps are weird.
Just spare me the dream sequences. I beg them, no more dream sequences.
Well, I think you sort of got your wish. So one of my favorite moment, and I thought this was so funny, was the blindfolded fight scene. Which seemed
that was good.
Yeah, it seemed like it would like establish a very fun tone. Could start with this very dark, like Beast Boy is like a failure in every way, and that just ends with this hysterical like moment where he like Jason Todd gets screwed up, and then gets bopped on the head, and then he's all angry. And I thought that was
he was very angry.
I know, right?
He was so angry. I was shocked at how angry he was because I kept expecting him to get over it, and he didn't. No, but that was a good scene.
It definitely hurt his pride.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was such a funny moment to just watch because then I think it does a great job establishing this new tone. It's like this really cool moment that has like some darkness in it. It's like through like Jason's anger, but it's mostly focused on this like really cool fight scene that leads into like this just really funny little moment with the bop on the head.
The only thing I find unbelievable, and again I want to emphasize, I definitely get where Jason is, and I love that he's at a certain level, but he's not perfect. I love that part. I just don't get how Beast Boy would know any of this kind of fighting technique, where he would have learned that from.
My guess is 3 months of training.
Oh yeah, the time jump.
Yeah, that's kind of the problem.
Time with my finances now too much.
Yeah. So what about the Hawk and Dove storyline? Because that was a little darker, but it took place in Wyoming, so it can't be. But that's so dark, right?
Did you guys see my post on that where I said I felt like I was in the middle of a Hallmark movie in that one?
Yeah, I gotta
No,
agree with
it's
you on
hysterical.
that. I like Hawk and Dove, but it did feel like we're in this just more of a sappy kind of scene. Like, oh, they're in love. I'm like, can we get to the fighting? So yeah, I thought it was a good comment. Like, yeah, it did feel like a Hallmark card for a minute.
Did I miss something? Where did they get the money for the ranch in Wyoming?
I don't know. 3 months.
That looks,
Who knows what happens?
I mean, I'm sure the cost of living in Wyoming isn't too high, but I don't know. It seems like that would cost a pretty penny.
Yeah, I don't know. My response to everything is 3 months at this point.
I will, again, it was cool seeing them on the ranch. It really was. It's neat when you take characters that you're used to in one setting, putting them in the other. And of course, Dove hitting a meth lab like that. Again, that's the assumption that all farmers, I guess, are out making meth. I don't know.
Wyoming, yeah. Yeah, I just think that they continue to be my favorite part of the show. I think they're the best actors in the show. And they're just my favorite part. It was a little corny with the whole, cliched, we're going to go straight. We're not going to do this anymore. We're going to live on the straight and narrow. No more drugs. No more superhero stuff. Because, of course, that's not going to last. But,
yeah.
I don't know. That meth lab scene was cool. So, as long as we got that.
Yeah. I think that when I was watching, that you were talking about the different environments, right? And I was thinking about it and I realized that I don't know if you guys are up to date on Tom King's Batman, but in the most recent issue, he's in like this tropical, like beautiful island, and it's just every page is just jaw-dropping gorgeous. But it's like you would never think to see like Batman in that sort of environment in like a paradise, and it was just so pretty and so unique. And I think there's a lot of like parallels between the two, and I think that's really cool. What about the Corey and Donna Troy storyline?
Well, I liked the camaraderie between the two. It's nice seeing them as just sisters, kind of. Even with the radio not changing the station, I was like, that reminds me of childhood. So yeah, I like their story arc, and I can't wait to see where it's going.
Yeah.
Do we know what they're doing? Like who they're working for?
They're working with Roy, right?
Yeah.
In some capacity, and I think they're just taking out villains and like working with the police in some sort of manner. That was that because at least like that was my interpretation, and they're like staking out using Roy's intel to try to take out this like supervillain. The only problem is Shimmer was like the most underwhelming supervillain.
Oh, she was. I didn't like her.
I'm trying to figure out what her power was. The power to hurl something at them? I didn't really get that.
I didn't understand her power either, but I liked her outfit.
She had like shimmering, so she had like some sort of manipulation of light. Like it was almost reminding a Dr. Light-esque sort of feel. But then like Shimmer like used like throwing paper, and I was thinking maybe like kind of like paper cut, like the Flash villain. Like the
I was
world.
gonna say like Gambit.
Oh yeah, maybe.
I mean, I'm not a Marvel guy, so I don't really know what Gambit does. I just know he has the cards and he throws them at people.
Yeah,
I don't
maybe.
know.
So somehow she energizes matter and tosses. Well, yeah, I don't know. I will say that of the story arcs, that one was the least compelling. It was fun seeing the ladies together and working. And it didn't really make it. It wasn't like there was a lot of crisis or drama in that particular arc. It was more about the drama of when are they going to drop everything and run back to San Francisco.
Yeah, although it'll be interesting because it seems like things are going to start picking up now that Coriander's been captured. Ooh,
Princess.
princess. Yeah, she is royalty, huh? It's so interesting because she was like so unprepared to like be electrocuted and like knocked out and stuff. And I'm like, does Corey have a good relationship with her home planet or not? You know?
Well, she obviously didn't see that shock coming, so she's probably not too up to date on their technological advancements.
Yeah. I would be like, where'd those technological advancements come in? And then I realized that they have like that they already have spaceships, right? So I don't know what Corey was thinking. That was sort of a weird moment. But
She was so confident.
yeah,
I respect it.
I know. She was like, "Oh, you're gonna need like 30 guys to take me out." Boom, Corey's down. But let's get to the real meat and potatoes of today. So we're gonna talk about DC Universe Book Club. So starting out 52 weeks ago, MattMcDonald kicked off the DC Universe Book Club, which established what the DC Universe community is like today. Then in January, Matt at JL for the monthly Girl Power. Now, I have a lot of questions about everything I just said, but first I want to say congratulations on hitting 52 weeks. How does it like
Thank you.
how does it feel to get this far?
A little unbelievable.
Yeah.
Especially like with how crazy like my life has gotten. Like 3 months, like with the whole having a child thing, has when that was when sorry when my son was born, I became so busy. I honestly didn't think I'd be able to continue doing it. So it's crazy to think that I've gotten to where we've gotten with it, and it's crazy.
It's so cool. JL, how's it feel to be at 52 as well? Because I know that you weren't there for the whole process in terms of like helping lead, but I'm sure it must be really cool to like get that far.
Yeah, I can't. It's been 52 weeks is what's crazy. I'm like, wow, 52 whole weeks. Yeah, it's great. I remember. I think I joined in on week 4, but I remember when Matt did have the idea of coming up with book club, and I wasn't able to join until I think the 4th week because I had to learn how to manage my time to have enough time to sit down, read the comic, and come in and talk. And then once I started doing it, I just didn't stop. It was so fun. So it's yeah, I can't believe it's been 52 weeks.
Yeah. Okay, so let's start this week with because let's see. This week you guys are reading your favorite arcs, right? So this week you're doing one, and then next week is what, JL, is that your favorite arc? Or
Next week is Sam Humphries. So
ooh. You want to tell us about that?
yeah. So we are covering Harley Quinn. The thief number 49 just hit the service as Tuesday, so we can read bar. So that's coming up, and yeah, I'm just really excited. So excited to have Sam come in and join us for book club next week. That's going to be fun.
So Sam's gonna be joining you guys. Ooh, that's fun. How'd you guys get that to happen?
So we keep Applejack in the loop about books that are coming up, and once we let her know what was happening, the rest of it goes behind the Applejack curtain.
The mysterious ways.
Yes, in mysterious
Ooh,
ways, it all worked out, and yeah, here we are.
that's so
Very
awesome.
Well, it's
Now,
nice because I know earlier on, right? Like, I don't know, maybe back in February or something, you also tried to make some synergies with DC Daily, where there was, we
Oh
would
yeah,
read the same time and have questions. So
Mhm.
it's kind of nice to see this coming up again.
yeah. It's a very different partnership, but I like it.
And this
So,
is probably what it should have always been, but
mhm.
yeah, that's a story for a different time. But
It's so exciting to get to the chance to like ask the writer of the series like questions as it, and I think that'll be really fun. Is getting to share in the experience with the person who wrote the text, because generally you read a book.
Go ahead.
Generally, you read a book uh, and the book is like, and you read it and then you decide what it means and how you feel about it. But then you don't get to reciprocate that. And so I think it'll be really fun to get to talk with Sam Humphries. So for those who are curious, here's how the Q&A will work. I just pulled it up now. They have they posted it. So on Wednesday, September 18th, from 10 to 11 a.m. Pacific time. So that's a little early in the day, but you guys can. But anyway, Mr. Humphries will be here in the thread, reading your book club comments and responding to your book club questions. Post your questions or comments about Harley Quinn 2016 issues 45 to 49 to Mr. Humphries from Friday, September 13th through Friday, September 18th, and he'll answer them in the order they're posted in an office hours sort of way. And I'm definitely gonna have to ask some questions. I have a couple thoughts, and I'm really excited to check that out. So this week you guys are reading Green Arrow: The Kill Machine. So, and I know Donnell, this is like one of your favorite. I mean, not Donnell, Matt. This is one of your favorite stories of all time, right?
yes, yeah, I love it.
So, what do you love so much about the story?
Oh, that's a good question. I love it because it's kind of, it feels like a continuation of Green Arrow Year One. It feels very I guess to go back, it kind of feels like what I wanted the character to be all along. My favorite thing about Oliver Queen Green Arrow is not what most people think. A lot of people like the wisecracks and the stuff, but I like him because he's kind of a loose cannon. He's a very flawed individual. My favorite thing about the book is that he's reactive. Um, Growing up, I was kind of the same way. I was always reactive, and I think Jeff Lemire found a very good voice for Oliver. He's reactive, he's angry, and he's emotional, and I think that's what makes him an interesting character. Those are the things I love about the character, and I know a lot of people feel differently, and that's fine. But I just love the way Jeff Lemire writes him.
That's awesome.
I find that interesting because that's kind of how he was presented back in that famous Green Lantern, Green Arrow team up of the 70s.
Absolutely, yeah. That book, he was a total hothead, and he did things without thinking about them because that's just the way he is, and that's very much how Jeff Lemire writes in the Kill Machine. He just acts sometimes. He doesn't think about it,
Mm-hmm.
but he has a habit of making it work out in the end.
Well, it
Yeah.
definitely feels cinematic. I just read it, I think, yesterday, and
Mhm.
it was like watching a movie. I put it up on the couch mode that they've been talking about, and it really was amazing to watch it that way, or read it that way.
I mean,
So,
the art is just gorgeous. I mean, too, it's I mean, story and dialogue aside, the art is just gorgeous in this book.
yeah, and we were talking about heroes being set out of their like environment and like being in unique places. Oliver Queen is in a desert for a decent amount of the issue of like, or for different moments in the issue. I'm only about halfway through, but I was so taken aback by just like the helplessness that Ollie feels, not just like physically, but also like environmentally, because it's like a different location, and I think that's a really cool dynamic with which to look at.
Absolutely, yeah. It's yeah, it is a cool thing because in the desert sequence, he's not fighting any villains. He's literally just fighting Mother Nature. It's I don't know. It's good. The book has a lot, I think, to give. The whole run has a lot to give. So I definitely recommend people keep going if they like what they've read.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to reading it Sunday night.
Yes, we're looking forward to hearing what you think.
So one of my questions is, you said you wanted to read through more of the run. Do you or you recommended reading through more of the run? How far does the run go? And well, yeah.
34. Sorry.
So 17 to 34?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay. Or is it 70 to 52? If that makes sense.
No, it's
okay, got it.
Hold on. No, yeah, it's 17 to 34.
Okay, so it's a nice short little run, right? 3 arcs, which means there's no excuse to not want to read it if to not read it if you're interested in. It's not one of those long 100, 200 issue runs where it's you have to know going in that you're going to put a lot of effort into it. So
Oh,
Yeah.
you mean trying to read the Legion for 6 years?
Oh yeah, exactly. Trying to read the Legion. By the way, Dawn, I was on the DC Universe thread. They have a list of the top posts in the comics list, and I love how your Legion petition was on there.
You know what's funny with that, and again, I don't want to take from this interview, but what's hilarious is if you look at the name of it, it says it's a petition, right?
Yeah.
Right after that, Applejack made sure in the bylaws that it was outlawed to say anything was a petition.
So
you broke the system.
And then she's special, highlights it as a conversation starter. And I find that so funny. But yeah, you're right. When the comics started, they didn't really have a lot of Legion. Now they have almost all of it, or a decent number of it, which is really awesome. So my next question is to, I guess, Matt. Going back to the beginning of the DC Universe Book Club, what made you create the book club?
There's a lot of reasons. I mean, superheroes are right now the most popular they've ever been, but for some reason comic books remain niche. I have one friend who sometimes reads comics, but other than that, I don't have anyone to talk comics with, really. And that's really all the time, or something I've always wanted is some people to talk comics with, and I've never had it. So, I mean, that was my biggest factor, and just really I don't know, just to talk to people.
Yeah, I think what you're saying is a great example of the power this community provides. I was thinking about this, and I think the book club is sort of what kicked off the whole comics side, really. It gave us a idea with which to look at and try to format stuff around. And it's so funny because the quote unquote legacy of the book club, which is so funny to be talking about in terms of legacy, because of course 52 weeks ago it was just starting, but now there's 20 book clubs, and such a wide variety of topics and stories to get to be told and shared. And I think and I really appreciate the club and all it's done for the community, and I think when you were talking about what you wanted to start, is I think a lot of people feel that way because comics is such a niche environment. I know until I was part of the community, I didn't know a single person who actually read comics. I knew people who'd read comics once upon a time. My grandma, for example, this is so weird. My 7-year-old grandma would read the occasional Thor comic, at the doctor's office or whatever, because they would have Thor comics and the periodical stands.
Yeah.
It's so funny now to think that comics could be on a periodical stand. Because, of course, I'm so young. I've never seen a comic on a periodical stand in my life. I barely know what a periodical stand is.
Right. Those are going away, too.
By the way, young nerd.
But so I think it's so wonderful to get to talk about with the community. And it's so funny because I'm scrolling through the news. I read a comic news, and within 10 minutes, 12 people are already talking about it on the server. Okay, maybe 12 is a little bit of an overestimate, but everyone gets so excited about the comic news so quickly, and it's so much fun because it's made me feel more passionate about DC as a result. And so I appreciate what you're saying about wanting to talk to someone about comics.
Yeah, and not to be negative, but when DCU launched, the community section at first was hostile.
Yeah.
It was an overly negative place, and
Yeah.
it was kind of gross. So if anything, I was just happy to get rid of some of that negativity and bring a bit that, and that's what I try to do, is just kind of be positive and
Yeah, and I think one of the things that I will always remember the club for is it got me over that time period where like nothing got added for like a good 4 months.
Yeah.
And I was like, and you like by
Mhm.
you choosing stuff to read, like it kept me invested in like what was there. Because it's so easy to be like, I'm sick of like looking at the same 3,000 comics or whatever and feeling like there's nothing left. And then having you like create and JL at some point, like saying, these are great comics, try these.
Right.
Like was really nice. I remember reading Green Arrow year one. They was like, whatever, it's a year one story. And then you were like suggested it, and I read it, and I was like, and that was like those sorts of things which kept me over the period of what do I do,
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm so thankful for that. JL, so you also kind of helped create the book club. You helped create Girl Power. When did you know you wanted to create Girl Power?
I think after reading a few of the comics, I had a few for Fire, Star Girl. At that point, I thought, wow, it'd be great to read female comics on a regular basis. And I really didn't know what it would be just yet. I pitched the idea to Matt, but I wasn't quite sure how I was going to organize it. And then Matt was like, "Hey, you can take it. Why don't you take 1 week of book club?" I was like, "Oh, great, okay, that'll be great." So that's how it started.
It's so fun. Can you repeat that first part again? Your mic just glitched out. Like,
oh, sorry. Let's see. What part did you miss?
just the very first thing, the very first sentence you said.
So after I read a few female lead comics, I wanted to do that on a more regular basis.
Okay, got it. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Is there what comic with a female lead did you read in particular that like made you want to read more in the book club?
Starfire and Stars and Stripe. After those two, I said I got to do this on a regular basis.
So speaking of Stars and Stripes, how are you feeling about Stargirl?
I actually am. I think that the costume looks amazing. I haven't. I'm not yet fired and pumped about it yet, but I'm glad that there's something that's coming that's not TVMA and that looks a little more youthful and fun in that way. So I'm looking forward to that.
Matt, do you have any thoughts on Stargirl?
I mean, I agree. I agree with JL. It's it'll be nice to get something that's not so grim on the service. I mean, even like Young Justice. I'm not much of a TV guy. The only show I've actually finished on DC Universe is Titans. Don't judge me.
No one's judging.
It'll be nice to get something that's not so grim, I think.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. So let's talk about the DC Universe Book Club Epic line. So, like, what did you learn about the line? And, like, do you see the line returning? If that makes sense? Like, if you get what I'm saying, right?
Yes. So what I learned about the line, I know going into it, that was something that is for people that are like me, the type that likes to start something and finish it. So I knew going in that it wasn't going to be for everyone because it does take dedication to continue to read a book all the way through. So knowing that, I knew there weren't going to be a lot of people in. I was saying, all right, let's just try it. Let's give it a try. What I can say is that I think the functionality, for me personally, as a host, the functionality of the service is just hard. Having to the posting pictures and replying. I always have to wait till I'm home to reply. It was a little harder from a hosting perspective. I do see it returning, but it won't be until we get into the next version of the community.
Community 2.0. I'm so excited for Community 2.0. And I hope that that's exactly what you need. Pinging, hopefully easier access to posting pictures, and all of the above. So what is your favorite story you've read, like, through the book club?
Ooh.
While we're thinking about that, I was going to interject that part of the fun of the book club has been seeing how there's storylines that some people just love and others despise. It's interesting the taste within the community, and for us to express it to each other, to explain to each other why we really, really like or really, really don't like. And of course, that's related to your question, Nathan, as to which is the best story that we read out of 52. That's tough. What's funny is I immediately remember the stinkers.
Yeah, that is kind of funny. JL, what was your favorite story?
Oh, The Long Halloween and Swamp Thing. So from Swamp Thing was through Epic's line, and I really, that blew me away even more than Long Halloween. But Long Halloween is up there. I really, wow. Reading through Long Halloween, I had always heard about it, but being able to read it and everyone's comments during that was just amazing.
I had to stop at 7 issues because it got kicked off of DCU, so I've never gone back to finish it. But now I feel
we
like
cut that one close.
yeah, and you guys didn't get to go through Dark Victory either, which I hear is also jaw-dropping. Right.
I actually like Dark Victory a little more than The Long Halloween. It's excellent.
Yeah. Okay.
So, Matt, what was your favorite?
I mean, outside of what we're reading this week, probably Multiversity. Yeah, I love that book. That was probably one of our least active books.
Yeah.
Mostly because it spanned a couple weeks. But I love that book. It's crazy. It's just the craziest thing I've ever read, and I love it. Specifically, Pax Americana. I just love that book. I love it. So I was excited to cover it.
Captain Carrot.
Like I said when we read it, that DC has kind of walked away from that continuity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's so funny. So speaking of Multiversity, I know that Multiversity also sort of places a special place in your heart because you guys got to go to a fancy event while you guys were reading Multiversity.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah.
What was it like going to the DC fan event?
It was exciting. It was really cool. I was surprised about how much fun it was to hang out with people who I'd only talked to on the other end of a screen, but it was really fun. It was a good time.
Yeah, didn't you two meet each other for the first time? Like at the event?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that event was like, I feel like I walked away from that thinking, all right, well, that's it. I've peaked. That
I'm never going to do anything cool again.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
All of the Batmobiles and people, just to that point, it's amazing how we can know each other through writing through the boards and then meeting each other in person. It just felt like we already knew each other. So yeah, it was an amazing event. It's really hard to put it into words. I do hope that we do it for others because it's definitely an experience.
Mm-hmm. It was totally fun watching you guys on the DC Daily episode when you were all there, Princess Amethyst and Big Dan and all that. But also, we actually tried to imitate that a couple of weeks ago in Chicago, where I met up with Tonian and Mel and her twin sister Nora.
Yeah, and did you guys have the same experience, Donnell, of like you guys already sort of knew each other?
Well, one of the funny things, and of course here I don't know what happened, but we never did tell each other our real full names, which is hilarious. So I still think of Tuna Tony and it's Tuna Tony.
It's so funny. Yeah, that's so funny. Hopefully, I'll get to experience it one day. So what about meeting Alex Joffe? Because I know you guys were live and he had this breakout moment. So what is it? So what is it like seeing where he is now in like the DC community?
It's great. I love his column. I love seeing him on the shows and stumping the host. It's just fun. He's got a great personality, and it just shines all the way through the threads and through the podcast or through the show. He's great.
He is great. The after party, after we shot DC Daily and then we watched it, we went across the street for the after party, and y'all should have seen him there. It was a delight. He's a great guy, and he's super funny and so knowledgeable, and I'm so happy for him.
That's so awesome. So how do you guys choose going through stories every week? Like, how do you choose the story you want to read? Are they like favorites of yours that you really want to share with others? Or do you try to pick like new stuff you've never read before?
It's a mix between the two. Sometimes I will pick something because I know I love it. This week it is a perfect example. I just I pick something because I know other people love it. But usually it's just I'm scrolling through the all comic section and I see something that catches my eye, and I read a little bit of it and I put it on a list, and then I come back to it when I need to pick a book.
Yeah.
I'm a little more picky, and I have a little more of a type A personality, so I've got all kinds of spreadsheets just going. Well, I think we look at what's going on as well in DCU, like what movies are happening, what TV shows are happening, what movies are dropping. Look at as well. On all the comics that are coming in. And then also the diversity. We want to make sure that we're catching or we're reading different characters. One of the things I liked the most about Book Club before I became a host was like I got exposure to so many characters that I may not have ever even thought to try. Matt was so good at picking just so many different characters. So I like to try to keep that as well. And then for Girl Power, it's a little tougher than that because I have to think like it's 12 times a year. 12 times a year, we're going to read a book with a female lead. So I try to make sure that it reads fast. But even with all my trying, you don't know what people's tastes are. So we do the best we can. But then also there are some times where a book may be good, but the arc doesn't wrap up very well within 6 issues or 7 issues. So there are times where it's like, this just doesn't fit the format of Book Club. Or maybe it's covering a topic that's just really hard to talk about in a group setting. It may be upsetting for some people. So I've had issues where I had to say, okay, no, that's not a good group topic book. And then there are other books, which is a lot of books, and that just doesn't well with Girl Power. If it's,
Can you repeat that? Yep. I don't know why it's just messing up.
Sorry.
It's fine.
Is it working better now? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. There are some times where there are just too many butt shots. So I think I can't.
Oh, yeah.
I don't feel comfortable. Like, maybe this isn't the right book. So, But there's a lot of different layers that I go through when I'm trying to pick a book.
I'm really appreciative that you take the time to like make sure it like portrays like strong female characters and doesn't feel overtly sexist, because it's unfortunate that you have to do so much to like choose a good like story about with female leads. you know.
I have a I call it the girl power reject list. I have one. When I go through, unfortunately, I'm like, oh no, this is not gonna work, and I have to put it onto the list for just no, this isn't really appropriate for book club. So yeah,
Hmm.
a lot of reading, but there's actually a lot of good stuff out there too. So I've read a lot the past year.
Yeah, and they're all fantastic. Like there was one story I didn't like that I've read, but generally, whatever the book club thing is, I like know I'm going to enjoy it, and I know it'll be really interesting, and it'll be something new. And when it's not something new, like when I like see it and I'm like, I've read it, I'm like, that's a great series, good choice, you know. And I think that's really fun.
I thought that the Birds of Prey was a great one for
Hmm.
Power.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of twists and turns in that one.
So now that you guys are at the year mark, what do you want to do for year 2?
Ooh, that's a good question. Well, more of what we've got going on this week, or I guess next week.
Yeah, that's so awesome with
Absolutely.
Sam Humphries. Yeah.
That is, it's super cool. It's crazy that once again, thank you to JL for getting the ball rolling on that. It's just so cool. I'd love to see more of that. And just more variety of books. I know there's some books that came out last year that should be hitting the service soon that I think are awesome, and I'd love to cover them. So, yeah,
Hmm.
more good DC comics.
I know, right? Like,
I did really like it when you did the part 1, part 2, like you mentioned, the Long Halloween. That is a great memory where we broke it up into 2 pieces over 2 weeks.
yeah,
Yeah,
to
and
tackle.
I've wanted to do that again, because I want, of course, I want to cover books like All Star Superman,
Yeah.
like 12-issue books. Maybe one day Mr. Miracle is that's still not on the service, is it?
No, it's not.
It's not going to be, is it? That's sad. Yeah, like books like that, 12 issue books. I would love to do a part 1, part 2 for that again. We'll see. Who knows? Maybe one day.
Yeah. For Halloween, you guys should do the sequel to Long Halloween. Ooh.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Hmm.
I don't think I've ever finished Dark Victory. Have I? I don't know.
Hmm. Well, and then I'll have an excuse to just jump back into Long Halloween. Although now I like really want to read Long Halloween because like JL just convinced me. So we'll see whichever.
Maybe you just want to read The Long Halloween and the sequel.
But it's funny because like I have so much to read right now on DC Universe. Like I've like I started trying to go through all the new 52 stuff, and then I got really excited about jumping to like the 2000 stuff, and now I'm back like trying to read all through Rebirth. And then sometimes I'm like I just really want to read all the book club stuff. But there's so much to read that all the like classics like All Star Superman I like don't even finish because I get too excited about something else. And it's like
Yeah,
I just want to finish a couple series.
there's too much good stuff.
I know. And like with the weekly releases too, like I want to like keep reading the new weekly releases as well. And so there's just always something new and exciting to read, and I think it's so wonderful. Especially
Just
when you
don't get
can
me started on Jimmy Olsen coming to town. I'll just write my little thread on that later.
you want to talk about that next week, Don? Because I really
Uh,
want to hear it.
well, yeah, I mean, it's historic. I mean, it was 1954 that came out. And
Jesus
again, Matt,
Christ.
you and I have talked in the past about one possibility for book club might be someday, um, maybe even just once a month, doing like a month by month through the important times of the Silver Age, that kind of.
Hmm. Yeah, I still love that idea, and
That'd be,
I think
mhm.
that the service is getting there. Because how cool would that be? Kind of like what they're doing with like World of Warcraft Classic, how they're kind of going through, starting back in the day, and then moving slowly up as the game progressed back then. I would love to do that with comic books.
Yeah.
Starting with an old release and then just going, maybe once a month. I'd love to do something like that. Maybe someday.
That would be really fun. I'd be down for that. Or like 52 years and 52 weeks. Ooh. And then you just choose like your favorite series from each year or something.
I'm tired just thinking about that. So that'd be a lot of work.
Yeah,
I know, right? And you'd have to constantly be like looking for it for reject list. Yeah, it'd be way too much work. But it'd be cool.
Oh, be young.
Yeah, JL's reject list would be like 300 pages long.
Maybe we can get a JL's reject list book club.
We're all curious now, JL. It's like, oh, these are the ones she doesn't want to.
Right, these have too many butt shots. No list.
That was what I really didn't like about that whole Nightwing thing we read, right?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry about that, guys. The one bad week was my fault.
Oh,
yeah, you
Nightwing.
demanded that we read Nightwing,
yeah.
and it was like,
well, I didn't demand.
terrible artwork.
I said Nightwing 50 is coming out this week, so let's read the origin of Nightwing. Let's read his first comic. Yeah, that was a mess.
Yeah, but then I picked Hawk and Dove New 52, which also probably my biggest blunder. I read it, and I read it first before I even put the post up, and I was like, oh, I don't know, this isn't very good. And I was like, maybe someone will like it.
Well, it's kind of fun to read bad stuff, right? It gives you something to talk about when the review.
Yeah, we all remember Hawk and Dove.
Yeah, that's true.
For better or for worse, it sticks in our heads,
That book was so good.
I will not forget those gritting teeth and I won't forget reading the Hawk and Dove.
It's so angry.
Is it worse or better than Titans, in terms of anger?
They were definitely more angry.
Ooh, that's really scary. Is there any stories you really want to read in the future? Is there one story that you haven't planned yet that you're you would want to get to one day? And then we were talking about All-Star Superman. Is there anything else that you're I just really, 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 really want to get there?
Watchmen.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's played to death, but I would just love to talk about that book. Yeah, maybe one day, but yeah, I mean, there's just so much to talk about with that book. It just we would just need a month-long discussion on it. There's just so much to say about it. So, yeah, that's a book I definitely want to do sometime.
That sounds awesome. So to wrap up this discussion, which has been a wonderful discussion, I'm so thankful you guys are here. Is there anything else you guys want to say or tell everyone?
Well, yeah, thank you. We couldn't have book club if people didn't join in. So really, we're really grateful that everyone comes and joins and takes time out of their day and reads and comes and chats with us. It really is a joy to read everyone's comments, no matter where they're from. I love when people share stories about where they were when it first came out, and it's just a blast, and it really brings everyone together. And again, thank you to Matt, because he's just an excellent partner. It's really fun working with him.
No, thank you.
Aww.
Seriously though, yeah. Thanks to JL. I said in my post, I wouldn't be able to do it without her. I'm so busy nowadays, and she's just taking a huge burden off of me. And again, thank you to everyone. I've never done anything like this. It's really outside of my comfort zone to do something like this. I remember telling my wife that I did this for 2 weeks without telling her. And then I told her, and she's like, "What? That's not like you," because I'm a very reserved person, as you can tell by my stammering. But it's just been a blast, and just thank you to everyone who's just even looked at the post. I appreciate each and every one of you. So thank you all. This has been real fun.
That's so awesome. Well, I'm gonna give a big thank you to you two. I'm just gonna say this real quick because I wanted to say this. Is I honestly feel like every single like thing that makes the community so great, all the positivity and everything, it really came like the energy and like the positivity really came from the book club and then expanded outwards. And I really think this community would look completely different without you two. I'm not even certain we would be getting a community 2.0. And Applejack's probably if she's listening to this is like, hey guys, but like I can't there's so many moments where I feel like the book club like really gave us a sense of like what this community could be. Like look, then it was the watch alongs, right? And then we started to explain it out. But it was so great. Like I remember the first time I saw someone saying like DC Universe Book Club, I was like, oh my god, dang it, I should have started that first because that's so awesome. And now I'm like really invested because that sounds awesome. And because Marvel Unlimited, right, doesn't have anything like that. You can't make a book club Marvel Unlimited. You can't share what you're reading with other people, right? It's a very self-contained thing. But DC Universe and what you showed me is that it allows you to expand and really talk about how you feel about a comic, and I'm so thankful for that.
It really is special. That's really the only way I can describe the community. It's really a special place. Most everyone gets along, and the community events are awesome. There's so much. Everyone's like pitching in and doing stuff. It's really cool. It's really special. And I just hope that we have a great future. And I think we will.
Yeah, I'm looking so forward to Community 2.0. Speaking of Community 2.0, I hope we can talk about next week. I'm not certain. Actually, we will be able to talk about next week because they had a giant discussion with new photos and everything from Community 2.0 on this server. But I wanted to spend time talking about the book club with JL and MattMcDonald. So we'll talk about that next week. Also, we'll talk about Titans Episode 2, which is actually, we talked about Titans Episode 2. I'm going to cross that off the list. So we're going to talk about Titans Episode 3, Ghost, comics, and Community 2.0. We are also rapidly approaching New York Comic Con, and we have a special interview lined up. So expect more details soon. We are now on Apple Podcasts. Actually, we aren't when we're recording this, but we will be by the time you listen to it. And you can listen to us on Google Play, SoundCloud, YouTube, and Podbean. I still don't know what Podbean is, and we're on there. Also, I am releasing a special video on the YouTube channel this week. I haven't figured out what it is. I still have to figure it out. I'm gonna record it tomorrow and hopefully get it up tomorrow. So we'll see you next week. Bye. I have to do some random stuff real quick. So you guys all say bye.
Bye.
Bye.